Right. Welcome back to Down for the Count, ladies and gentlemen. Now, look, Nicole's probably going to pop in a little bit later, but this is our final show for the year. And we promise y'all we give y'all a final one, and we may have an extra one on the horizon, just a little bitty one. We may get that, but for now, we are going to focus on today's episode. So we got a lot to cover, we got a lot to go over. But in the meantime, as always, Alexis is here. Like I said, Nicole will be in later. And Janae, she is out, but she is all right. I have talked to her. She is fine. So, Alexis, say hi. And Rico's probably with her, so he'll probably chime in somewhere.
Hey, come home. The kids miss you.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Uh, Fun.
So, a lot has happened since we last recorded. We also have Midwest Melanin Mafia that put up an episode, so we have that. But we did go over Survivor Series. We didn't go over Deadline with you guys. So to just make it quick, we'll go over Survivor Series, Deadline, and Saturday Night Main Event so you can get an overall of all the PLEs and TV specials that have happened since we last recorded. And then we're going to get into this mess because there is a lot of mess, okay? So let's start off with Survivor Series. Okay. Um, it happened.
To, I mean, it was a thing that happened. Women's match was actually pretty good. I know a lot of people were shitting on it. I was entertained by it. Um, Rest of the
I
card,
definitely was one of those people. I was one of those people.
but for the rest of the card, I was like, eh. And then I got halfway through the men's cage match and I just shut it off because I was falling asleep.
I didn't like the women's match. I thought the women's match was sloppy. It didn't really start to clean up until Rhea got in the match, which says a lot. Um, it's too much botching, too much. It's war games, bro. It's war games. Like I don't know what was wrong with Naya, but she was not firing on all cylinders at all. That hoe was at half capacity, and I blame her for a lot of shit. But a lot of people were off. Candace was off. Naomi was a little off. And given the fact that it was their first War Games outside of Candace, because Candace has been in multiple, I do give them a little slack. But it wasn't like, you know, they were in the match and they just didn't understand how the match worked. Nia was too big to be behaving the way she was behaving in that match. And I don't mean it in terms of a size. I just mean like it was the light tapping of the chairs. It was just so it was the bullshit, the botchery and the fuckery that was happening from her. And Raquel was definitely getting botchy in that match. It just was not clean all around. And like I said, it really didn't start to clean up until Rhea got in there. And that's when things started to change. The tone of the match shifted. Tiffany did fine in the match. EO did great. Bianca was fine. Rhea was fine. Even Liv was okay. Everybody else, like even Naomi was okay. She kind of got into the groove later on in the match. But that early part with Bailey and Nia, hot garbage. Basura.
I mean, like I said, I mean, it wasn't my favorite women's war game match, but like, excuse me. I mean, yeah, war games is supposed to be like the thing that sets off because then it's going to be fun for the rest. Like that's the big last end of the show year. I it did take a moment for the women to get up. Raquel, I don't know what her issue is, but ever since she came back, that girl has been botchy as fuck, and a lot of people just don't want to admit it. She has cues. She's been standing there looking like a deer in the fucking headlights, and you're just like, sweetheart, what are you doing? This isn't your first fucking time. What? Why are you botching up so bad? And then people are like, oh, she came back because her thing, like the condition she had. I'm like, okay, and I can understand like that because I looked up what
That
it
was a
was,
skin condition, though.
and it's oh, but it's just like I can understand. What am I trying to say here? I can understand that, but it's like, girl, what the fuck are you doing? Like, ever since like she came back at Bad Blood, she's been off her game.
Put that mayo in the fridge, babe.
I don't know. I mean, I
I'm
remember.
fine. It was not a bad match. I'm not saying that. It just wasn't up to par with its predecessors in any way, shape, or form. I don't believe that that match was good. Was it okay? Yeah. It got to be better towards the end. Was it entertaining? Yes. So you're not wrong in your initial assessment of the match. I just was very nitpicky because that what I saw in the beginning of that match, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. It could have been, but it wasn't. And I don't know what they were trying to do. I don't know exactly what they thought. Like I'm confused at the behavior is what I'm saying. The way they acted during the match, how they moved, it just was not it wasn't good. It made the match not good. And I just wasn't okay with it.
I think it's also that, to me, is that the storylines were kind of, because like it. I'm trying to remember it because to be honest, I have not watched it since then, and I feel bad for not doing it. But like, it just, I don't know. I mean, it was it was fine, but I think it's just like something with the chemistry of the women in the ring. Because like last year, you have to think about it. It was Damage Control versus the people that they basically had been fucking with for the entire year, right? You had,
Yeah.
even with EO being on Damage Control side, she still got her spot. But the comeuppance was that all the sins that Bailey had committed that year in the name of Damage Control, it came back and bit her in the ass. And then what
Hmm.
happened? She out of fucking Damage Control. That makes sense because there was some sort of like what's the word I'm looking for? Something was like on the line because they actually took time and they made a story out of it. But it's just like
Hmm.
something was missing. No, I'm probably sound like I'm rambling, but something was missing.
Well, what they did was they took the storyline with Rhea and Liv and then breaking her face. They kind of tied everything into so that both sides were able to compete in war games this year. So it wasn't just a SmackDown war games like it was last year. It was both shows were involved in the war games. So you did have Rhea and Liv with their storyline, and there was a storyline outside of them with the other women. So you had Naomi and Bianca and Jade at the time. All of them were a part of it during that time because they were competing against Liv, Raquel, Nia, and Tiffany. That was a thing. And so once Io won the right to challenge Liv Morgan, that's how she was incorporated into War Games because Triple H can't have War Games without her. So he incorporated her into it that way. But I did have a problem with how it was set up because it made sense how they did it. So it wasn't like they just shoehorned Bianca, Jade, and Naomi in there. What they did was they had the villains join forces, which in turn forced the villains' current opposition to join forces with the heroes and go into that match, and they all fought with each other. I low key wish they would not have added Bailey to the match and left it with Jade, and then Jade got attacked after that, because I feel like that match probably would have been better with Jade in it. And I don't mean it to be disrespectful, but looking at the other side with Nia Jax and Raquel Rodriguez in there, the only other bigger person in there that could match wits with Nia and or Raquel outside of Bianca and Rhea Ripley was Jade Cargill. She's the only other woman. So my thing was, I wish she would have had the opportunity to go into War Games, because it really would have worked in terms of balancing out that roster and making it look, because that was more cohesion and it made sense. It just made sense. But they went storyline with it, took Jade out and had their moment. So it is what it is. But I just say I wasn't a fan of the match until towards the middle and the end of the match. It was okay. The rest of the show wasn't bad either. I liked the men's War Games match. A lot of people didn't like it. LA Knight faced off against Shinsuke Nakamura. Nakamura got the US championship. And by the way, Bianca, Rhea, that squad, they beat Liv Morgan and them. Ludwig Kaiser, Sheamus, and Braun Breaker's match was the best match of the night. It was fun. It was a triple threat. It was fun to watch. It was a lot going on in that match. And all three of those dudes put a whole lot of heart into that match. It's probably one of the most rewatchable matches from this PLE. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. Um
That one was the slow
Gunther
burn.
beat, yeah, it took a little bit to get into it, but it was good. I liked it more than any other match on the card, honestly. If I had to pick another close second, it would be Gunther and Damien's match. I like their match too, but it ended with Finn coming in and costing Damien the match once again. Um, and this led to a match that ended up happening on Saturday Night Main Event, which we'll get to in a second. But Damien ended up getting he ended up getting choked out. Okay, you got to put the sleeper on him. Eventually, they had the men's match, which I actually was interested in. I wanted to see how they were going to do this with CM Punk being there, in there to help them. And it actually was not a bad match. It was much better than the original Bloodline match that we saw with Kevin and Drew and all of them fighting against the Bloodline. It was a much, much better match. It was more cohesive. Everybody did their part in this match, but it was a lot of injuries. Tongaloa got injured, torn pectoral muscle, I want to say. Not sure. I know that he tore something. I think it was his pectoral or something, or bicep or some type of, it was something that he tore. Um what's his name? Bronson Reed, he broke his foot jumping off of the top of that cage to do that tsunami on Roman, only to hit that table. He actually broke his ankle completely. It's broken. Jimmy Uso jumped off the top of the cage to do the Uso splash onto somebody. I think it was Jacob. He broke his toe doing that. So it was a lot of injuries in the men's match. It was a lot. Overall, Roman's team did end up winning, and they beat the new bloodline. It was a solid match show, in my opinion. It had some hiccups. I wasn't a fan of LA Knight's match. I don't mean it in terms of, Shinsuke didn't deserve a title. He does, but LA Knight, I feel like they could have stretched that out with him and LA Knight a little bit longer rather than having him take it off against him in their first meeting.
Only reason
But
that
overall, the show was okay. It wasn't bad.
I was okay
What'd you
with
say?
them, and I was okay with them taking the title off LA Knight, because that that either means he's going to be off TV for a little bit, or he's going to be one of the guys that go for whatever. I mean, we'll get to Saturday night main event, but I think he's being finally getting that push that we've all been begging for.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be off TV because he's been featured on TV for the last couple of weeks, especially in regards to Nakamura. But I'm gonna get to that in a second. Now, after we had Survivor Series, NXT Deadline, it happened. Now, I'm gonna tell you this: Deadline wasn't as fun as it could have been. I'll say that. I don't know. I feel like the first two Deadline shows with the Iron Survivor Challenge, we got a little spoiled. These last couple of Iron Survivor Challenge matches have not been good. I don't know what it is, but they're not making it fun anymore. You know what I'm saying? And the problem is that you lose the best aspect of the Iron Survivor Challenge. You got 25 minutes to get as many pinfalls as you can. And I feel like the quick pinfalls in the beginning set up for a lot of fun to happen towards the end where people are trying to get, pinfalls. It was just too much regular wrestling in this match and not enough quick moving and quick thinking in both of them. However, we're going to get to the match. The men's Iron Survivor Challenge kicked off the show for Deadline. Obafemi ended up being the one to replace Eddie Thorpe. Apparently, Eddie Thorpe was too injured to compete. At least that's what he led everybody to believe. So you had Javon Evans, Nathan Frazier, Wesley, and Ethan Page all facing off against Obafemi because Obafemi was chosen to take Eddie Thorpe's place. Obafemi ultimately won the Iron Survivor Challenge, and Ethan Page suffered a massive ass whooping inside that penalty box.
He's on some bullshit lately.
He was crying. He did not want to get in that box. He did go in there, and Obafemi took his ass to the night water.
Fucking get in there, Femi? Hell no. That man would kill me.
It was pretty bad. But Obafemi is your lone survivor for the men. Lola Vice and Jada Parker went into the NXT Underground match. You know Lola Vice is undefeated in NXT Underground, but Jada Parker has had Lola Vice's number for months, and they have been battling. And as soon as she got the opportunity, she went into that Underground match, but she quickly realized that this is Jada Parker, that Jada Parker is not exactly in the right element. You are in an element where this girl has more skill and more power than you do. And as much as I don't have Lola, I'm not the biggest fan of Lola. I do respect what she can bring to the table with her MMA background. And she was able to utilize that in this Underground match. But she did give Jada a taste of her own medicine with that brick. So Jada Parker lost, and Lola Vice beat Jada Parker in NXT Underground. And it was a pretty decent match from what I understood. The NXT Tag Team Championship match was probably my favorite match of the night. I love this match. It was fun. It was a lot of high octane speed, a lot of pinfalls, a lot of near falls. But ultimately, Nathan Frazier and Axiom were able to keep those championships. I do not understand. They must got beer flavored nipples or something because they have not been beaten by any tag team anywhere. It's nuts. At this point, they're invincible. You have to remember, Nathan Frazier was competing in the Iron Survivor Challenge, and he got his face busted in that match. He was tore up. His ribs was bandaged. Face was cracked. He went out there and still competed at a 75% capacity. He was still better than most people. And quite frankly, it just was an awesome match to watch. It's my favorite match from this card. I highly recommend that you go back and watch it. This one is the most rewatchable match of the entire PLE. It was so fun to watch. But Frazier and Axiom retain the titles. They are still your NXT Tag Team Champions for now. Because as of we're recording this tonight, they have a match against Gallus for the tag team titles. And not only that, but Axiom had to wrestle Obafemi tonight. So Axiom is the one pulling double duty today. Woo! Final match on the card outside of the Iron Survivor Challenge for the women was NXT champion Trick Williams. He faced off against the devious Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland and Trick Williams had an okay match. It wasn't bad. It was good. Um, there were a lot of points where Trick Williams almost lost this match and almost lost his title, but he was able to fight back and beat Ridge Holland for the championship, and Ridge Holland lost. But his celebration is not going to be able to be sustained, seeing as how he has a looming cloud over him in the form of Obafemi, which we'll get to him in a second. So the final match of the night was the Women's Iron Survivor. Julia is your lone survivor in this match. This match was probably the most quirky match I've ever seen in my life. As an Iron Survivor, it was odd. The women really didn't get a lot of pinfalls. They were wrestling more than they were gaining pinfalls. And to be fair, it was equal all around except for Ren Sinclair. Everybody had one pinfall towards the end of the match except for Ren. She was the only person in this entire match who was going into that penalty box more often than anybody else. Towards the end of the match, Soul ended up getting pinned, I believe, Julia Pender or somebody. I don't remember.
I'm gonna say something that's probably gonna piss off a couple of people. I am not a fan of her. I
A fan
don't
of who?
Ren.
Oh, well,
I
whatever. I don't care.
it all the time where people are like, oh, you need a blah 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 blah, and I'm like, no, because I on and I don't say this about a lot of people, even though I really fucking should because I try to be nice. I don't think this bitch can wrestle. I really don't. I really don't
She
think.
shows pockets of it when it's necessary for her character, but Ren is a very character driven character. So I can understand that.
Her character really doesn't do anything for me though.
That's fair.
I'm just like, this is what everyone is like. Because there are people who are like, oh, you need to like try to like her because she's the future of wrestling, and it's like, baby, you know how many times we've heard the future of wrestling? Come on
Girl,
now.
every day, all day. Every day, all day. Sometimes that's all we hear.
Future of wrestling. Hey, where? Give them
I
benefit
mean,
of the
if I can understand why she's not your cup of tea. Um, they've kind of when she was on the Indies, Maddie was okay. She wasn't bad. She was okay. Her sarcasm and shit is what got her over a lot. Her and NXT, I mean, they're gonna dull her down and change. It's fine. She works with Charlie and them. She weaseled her way into that. It's fine. It's not anything to write home about, and it's not anything to really get upset about. It's just like she's there.
Yeah.
Her, Brinley, and like a few of those other girls in the back, they're not somebody that stands out in the at the forefront. But they always got to have one, and they did it a few years back. They did it last year when they had somebody in the Iron Survivor Challenge, and we were just like, eh, you know. They did it the year before that, so it's always one. It's always one person in there that just should not be in there. This year it was Ren for the girls, and for the men it was Nathan Frazier. He shouldn't have been in there. I don't care what anybody says. But Julia won. Stephanie was getting ready to pick up the W and get a second one, and they did it. Which the time ran out for her, so she didn't get the chance to get it. It was a very interesting match, but it didn't have enough hype in the match. There wasn't enough going on, in my opinion. Overall, the PLE was solid. It was a solid show. It just wasn't as great as I wanted it to be in terms of the Iron Survivor Challenge. Now, let's go to Saturday night main event. Okay. Because that's the most recent, and it is the TV special that just happened. And we're going to go over this one piece by piece because a lot of what happened in these last few PLEs have now led to what's going to happen on January 6th. Okay.
Okay.
Now, you like, okay. So
And when someone starts talking about January 6th, okay, like
girl, it's gonna be very synonymous, which WWE know they petty for that. They know they petty for that. We
just
all
a
know
bit.
what January 6th is for, and they gonna pick January 6th of all days. And I know it's because January 6th is on a Monday, but no, y'all could have debuted the 13th. Like, stop playing. Okay, so let's start off with the first match of the night. First match of the night was Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. The two men have been fighting for months. Well, only for a couple weeks. Drew came back a few weeks ago, attacked Sammy and Jay Uso, and Jay Uso has been out ever since. We haven't seen or heard from him. Not only has he attacked Jay and Sammy, but he's also attacked Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso is also out with the toe injury, so he's not going to be back for a little bit. He'll be back sometime early next year because by then his toe will have healed and he'll be ready to go. But baby, Sami Zayn and Jet and Drew had a pretty decent match on that card for Saturday night main event. It was nice. It just felt like the finish of that match was really quick, which lends some credibility to what Nicole was saying when I went live, which was that the match had went over a little bit. Because I mean, as soon as Sammy got back in the ring, Drew hit him with a claymore and the match was over. So there was no like creation of a build up for the ending. It just poof, match over. So it was a rushed ending to the match, but for the most part, the match was okay.
Okay.
The women's championship match was with Io Sky and Liv Morgan. It's a decent match between the two women. I can't deny Liv Morgan and Io play well with each other in the ring, and she finally won a match without interference from anybody in her squad, and there was no damage control interference as well. Everybody stayed in the back, and she was able to win her match and retain her championship all by her lonesome. But her championship celebration was short lived when Rhea Ripley came out and made it very clear without saying nothing that she ain't forgot and she's still going after that title. The triple
I don't
threat between what happened?
understand why she needed when she could have just waited for Raw to do all that.
It was
But
just a little. It was just a little. I'm gonna cut your celebration short type of situation.
sense.
Plus, the
It,
crowd loved it. They popped for the girl, so it was fine. to make sure everybody understands too, Jesse the Body Ventura was there. He did not get on commentary until Cody and Kevin's match, which I'll get to in a minute. But Pat McAfee was there, which I love that Pat was there. And Pat is going to be on Monday Night Raw for January 6th. He is going to be on commentary that night for that show. So they are stacking the deck for this very first show for Netflix, honey. It's about to be a mess around here. Let me plug my phone up. She howling because she ain't got no juice. Okay. Did you watch the match, Alexis? Did you have any thoughts on the women's match?
I kind of I was in and out with Saturday Night Main Event. I'm gonna be completely honest, but I
No,
mean it's
fair.
a good show. I mean, everyone was excited because if y'all don't know, Saturday Night Main Event used to be like a big deal before Raw and SmackDown and Nitro and all that shit came out. That's pretty much all we had. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I love when they do throwback shows like that. I do like the fact that Jesse Ventura was there on commentary, even if it was for one match. You know, the fact that Liv beat EO clean without any interference, I'll give a little benefit of a doubt. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but
She's not happy, but she'll give it to her.
she did it without Dominic getting involved, and she did it without Raquel botching up the fucking place. But I'm gonna be on that bitch's ass. Like, come on, girl. Why you fuck?
Cracks me up, y'all. It's funny.
I try. Oh, excuse me. But from what I saw for Friday night was good, but then I saw where Kevin pretty much went insane.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get to that. We're going to get
All
to it. So
right,
before we get to Kevin, we got a couple more matches. So we got Priest, Balor, and Gunther. They all went at it. This was my favorite match of the night. I like this match. I thought it was fun. I like the triple threat. They all three of them did well in the match, but ultimately Gunther was able to beat both of them. He is the one who retained his championship, and he pinned Balor to do it. He didn't pin Damian Priest. So Finn Balor thought he had a shoe in for this title, and he ended up losing. After everything he did, he ended up losing. The finals of the United States tournament happened for the women's United States Championship, and Chelsea Green was able to beat Michin. She was the only person on this entire card that had interference in her match. Now, y'all have to remember they were in Rhode Island, New York, which is Zack Ryder country. And of course, because she's married to him, the crowd was overly on her side. Not only that, but Piper interfered in this match at least twice. And Michin had this match won multiple times. But because she was basically fighting two people, she ended up suffering and unpretty her. And the way Chelsea did it was pretty fucking ingenious. I'm not going to lie. It was a good counter into her unpretty her, and Michin lost, and Chelsea is now your inaugural United States Women's Champion.
add that it was that
Uh,
Chelsea won, that it was that ugly ass gear that she won in.
she won with the gear of her face everywhere, which is nuts. It's so arrogant to walk around with your head, just your head,
It's like,
just your head.
but you know what? Like, and I know people are like, being like, oh, it's just a joke. Matt Cardona needs to shut the fuck up because he's like, oh, now I'm one half of the WWE Women's United States Champion. I'm like, dude, shut the
He
fuck
did
up.
that. He did it when she won the tag team titles as well.
No, it's just like, why don't you
Whatever.
actually fucking do something instead of going back into irrelevancy where you belong? But whatever.
Ooh, child, that's messy, honey. Now, from
Cardona.
what I hear, they say Matt Cardona is gonna sign with Ring of Honor, but I don't think he will. But that's what the streets been saying is that he's about to sign with Ring of Honor, and that they've been shopping Ring of Honor around to put on TV.
Mm, they need something.
I don't I don't know, babe. But if he does sign with Ring of Honor, good on Ring of Honor. I hope they do get on TV because they got a lot of good pieces in Ring of Honor. That would be nice. They could take that Rampage show and give it to Ring of Honor and just add an extra hour, and they can have Ring of Honor on Fridays. Like,
I'd
what do
watch
I know?
that.
I
But
mean, right? Just put fucking Ring of Honor on Fridays and take out Rampage. Rampage doesn't do anything for anybody. Nobody gives a shit about Rampage.
forget Rampages on TV. But
Final match of Saturday night main event was Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes. In this match, you're going to hear a lot of things across the IWC. A lot of people believe Kevin Owens was screwed. A lot of people believe that Cody Rhodes cheated. The truth of the matter is, neither of those answers are correct. Nobody got cheated out of anything. And if Kevin Owens had never brought the chair into the ring, Cody never would have used it to take him out. But if you recall, Cody made it very clear that because Kevin Owens was going to do everything in his power to try to destroy him, he was going to do everything in his power to try to protect it. So that included knocking his ass out with that chair with the crossroads. Now, some of y'all are pinpoint or focusing on the fact that the ref was knocked out and Kevin had Cody pinned, and he was screwed because the ref came into the ring and counted while on the outside of the ring. Y'all forget that the damn referee is short and was trying to get his ass back in the ring but couldn't get back in there, and the finish had to happen.
all I just keep thinking is that from Botchamania, shout out Matthew, from Botchamania, where it's like Cody's like, "Where's that ref? He's trying to fuck on me."
Hell no. The referee had to count. It was the job. He knew what he was doing, and more than likely, I guarantee you, Gorilla was telling him just count. Just fucking count. The finish is gonna happen the way it happens anyway. Just count. He has a mic in his ear. Remember that. Some of y'all take the kayfabe way too fucking far. Kevin wasn't screwed, and neither was Cody. Both of them knocked out referees during this match. They both did.
Mm-hmm.
The only person that tried to bring something into the match that wasn't sanctioned to be there was Kevin Owens. So if Kevin Owens got screwed in your mind, he did it to himself. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. So for y'all to say that that small package power driver after the match was justified is weird to me because it wasn't Cody standing out on the outskirts of the ring counting in the match. That wasn't Cody. That was a referee. So if he had took out the ref with the power driver, that'd be different. Then I'd be like, well, referee did low key come in there and try to count on the outside. I mean, if that's how you see it. But to go after Cody as if Cody was the one who cost him the championship is weirdo behavior. Cody didn't do anything but what he was supposed to do.
Because
That was the way to get.
I'm noticing the Cody hate is coming back for some reason, but it's just like weren't that's just but it just goes to show you they were rooting for him to win this damn title 2 fucking years ago from Roman, and we called it from the get go. So what? So you guys can fucking hate him as soon as he gets it, and then when he loses it again, you'll be like, "Oh no, Cody, we want you as our champion. Oh
Yep.
no, it's broken." Like what the fuck do you guys want? Like what the fuck do you want? For real. Because we tired. We tired.
We definitely are. Which is it's in the bag right there, babe. My purse. Which I'm just gonna ignore the bullshit. I'm
No
just gonna
problem.
ignore it. This is
Um,
not. It's not worth arguing with nobody about. It's really not. He didn't screw anybody over. That small package power driver was not justified.
yeah.
Simple as that. Now, Cody came out with the winged eagle belt, which a lot of people was hyped for because they knew he was going to come out with that belt during Saturday Night Main Event. Now, after this was all done and Cody got stretchered out of there, Kevin was grandstanding with the title, very happy with what he did, holding it up like he was the winner. And Triple H came out there and knocked the title out of his hands, and they got into it. He
Hunter's like,
pushed
I'm
him. He was sick of his shit. Okay, he is not a happy camper. So we'll see how that all plays out on Saturday. I mean on Friday, because Friday is going to be the fallout of Saturday Night Main Event, but they did mention it on Monday Night Raw. And that's everything that we have seen in terms of PLEs and TV specials for the last 3 weeks. We have been bombarded with nothing but wrestling and drama. So Nicole's here. Finally, we could take a low key sigh, but it's only gonna be brief because we got maybe 2 weeks
humbled.
before they give us Netflix.
Lord. Hey, we
We're
ain't
just
ready.
gonna
What
be in knee
seems
deep
that
in
that show
bullshit.
seems crazy already.
It's gonna insane.
Well, Rico's here. Say hi, Rico.
Hi, Rico.
Hi Rico, sorry I'm like so late. I was like looking at apartments and then I stopped at my I just felt like I've just been behind all day. I had to look at
Oh no,
apartments,
you're
end up
fine.
getting to the one place late. So I'm gonna try to reschedule it for tomorrow and then we went out to eat. It was just like a lot.
Oh no, you're fine. We just went over all the PLEs, and I know you didn't want to go back over those no more.
No.
No way. So you're okay. You came in just in time. So
I have
now
been
that we done
watching
finished,
NXT. That
did
little
did Oba beat Axiom? Did he beat him?
I wasn't home yet, but he did beat him. But Axiom and
Oh,
what's their names won again.
they beat Gallus.
I was like, thank
Me too. Did not want them to get those
also
championships again.
they had like this really cute package about the history and the importance of the NXT Women's Championship. They showed
Uh huh.
Mandy and referenced her. They showed Indy, showed Sasha a little bit. They didn't mention her. Obviously, they're not going to mention her. But I was like, wow, we're showing and talking about the release girls. I'm surprised.
They said alumni,
I said, period.
alumni roster.
Not potted it
So
up.
they showed everybody in the NXT Women's package, even Mandy. Wow.
And they
Oh,
referenced her too.
Oh. Okay. Well, that shows there ain't no real, no hard feelings. Okay.
No.
no.
Love that for them. All right. So let's talk about some interesting stuff. Okay. So Ray Phoenix was on the internet and he basically put it in the stories and it caught wind by everybody that Ray Phoenix is just chomping at the bit to tell everybody what really happened between him and AEW. Now I think I still have that post he put up. I don't remember if I have it or not in my phone.
I
I'm
just
gonna
know
double check.
Nix gets that muzzle off. He is going like from all the people who have left AEW and they've spoke out and all their stories seem to match up. Phoenix is going to be the
Mhm.
one that finally like just topples everything the fuck over. It really is, like at least in my honest opinion. And y'all know I don't say that shit a whole lot. But think about who's left. Swole started it. Then Lufisto shared her story about it. Then Cody was really open about it. And that's a company that he literally helped build from the ground up. And then Punk left and he was just like, yeah, I only choked Tony Khan out a little bit.
That's a wild shit to say, though. That's crazy. That was the craziest shit I heard in a while. I was like, yo,
Out a little bit.
you did not just say this on TV.
Did. Or the internet, yeah.
Okay, so there was a post by a Twitter user by the name of Chris Prolific, and he basically put out the information that he received, and Pentagon, well, not Pentagon, but Ray Phoenix retweeted it, and he basically said this is the most accurate information that's out there. He confirmed that this is true. Okay, so according to this Twitter user and the information he received, he said, and I quote, I received information from an AEW source on November 20th regarding the Lucha Brothers status, but did not report it as I was waiting for one of them to begin speaking their mind about the situation. I was told that was coming. He says, I was also told that day that Penna's contract was soon ending with AEW. Ray Phoenix did just that. He spoke his mind. So here is some intel I received. This is what he got before Ray Phoenix put out the Instagram stories about telling his story. Okay. He said, and this is a quote, the alleged excuse that Tony Khan found out about Lucha Brothers being in talks with WWE is fake, and the real reason will be revealed. So the story that all of the AEW apologists are going to running around with and basically justifying Tony Khan's behavior towards those two guys for leaving is not true. So that is not a true justification of them being able to leave AEW and be held back by AEW because of Tony Khan's pettiness. To be clear, I want to preface that Tony Khan made it very clear that he was going to be nothing like his predecessor, and he made it very clear that if superstars wanted to leave, he would let them out of their contracts. He is not going to hold them back. These were his words. You go back on Twitter, which I know somebody has done. The tweets are there. He put it out there for everybody to see. Okay. Now, to continue on with what is being said, they said expect the Lucha Brothers to go more in depth about their time in AEW when they are free and clear to do so. And when they do it, it is going to be ugly. Now, what Ray Phoenix said in his Instagram stories, which I have those because I keeps a good receipt, honey. Okay. He said, I will have my chance to speak the truth. He said, no one stays in a place where they received inhumane treatment.
Inhumane treatment. Mm-hmm.
Inhumane treatment.
Now he's not going to be the one that topples it. He's going to be the one that like the damn match and then watches it explode.
Yeah.
Like,
but
ready with that.
It's ugly. It is ugly. It don't have to be this ugly, but it is ugly.
For the record, even how horrible we know Vince is, no one who has ever left WWE currently has ever said inhumane treatment of the superstar.
No, I mean, he's a monster, so I mean he's no better. But you are right about that. The only thing I would say that WWE did better when releasing their superstars is they didn't tack on the injuries that they received in terms of holding them hostage in their contracts. They have been known to hold a superstar hostage, like, hey, we don't want you to go, or no, you can't leave, and they'll hold them to their current contract, right? But they're not adding years onto their contracts when they've gotten injured to maintain them in the WWE or to keep them from wrestling somewhere else. They're not doing that. So even when they get released, they get 3 months, they get paid, and then they can go about their business and do what they want to do. Now, when it comes to
I think we're
Penna,
getting Josh Alexander.
you're no way.
He's
There's
he's
no
turning
way.
face. Like he's like right now turning face. Ethan Page.
Oh, he is.
Oh shit.
Maybe
That's
that
low key interesting.
he got his ass whooped by Obafemi. I mean, I think he probably was praying to whatever. He was like, "I'll do anything. Please, just let me survive being in a box with this man."
I told y'all that it's best for him to turn face. His heel work is fine. It's just it's not gonna work where he is because there's nobody else for him to go up against outside of Trick Williams. Him being a
Oh,
face might
JK.
work.
Oh,
It
JK.
might work.
Yeah.
Ugh.
All right. So Penna contract is up and he is free to move about the cabin as long as he wants to. And it seems that they have already began to tease his to tease him showing up in WWE. There was a small video vignette to show it was just a zero with a line through it. And it didn't register with me what that meant until Nicole said something. And I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about?
I was like, how did no one see that? Oh, he messed him up.
I was like,
No, he didn't need
man.
to do that to nephew.
Oh shit. He attacking Javon. Yeah, well, it checks. It checks with Ethan Page, if we're being honest.
Yeah. Um,
I saw it, but I just didn't. It didn't for whatever reason. It didn't register. I was just like, "What is that? What does that mean?"
I was like,
It just
that's why I
did
was
not
like,
register.
why did as like how did well when none of you were talking about this, I was like, I know it. I mean, I didn't get to watch um Raw at all because like I was so by the time we slowed down at work, like it was off. Um, and I know it aired during Raw, and I was like, why didn't no one talk about this in your live? I'm like, did everyone? I know it was like it was weird, so it's like, what is this? But as soon
It was
before I
very
even
subtle.
saw people be like, oh, that's Penta, 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 especially and then someone else from PW Insider. Um, I mean, obviously, grain of salt. I don't take anything seriously, and people can confirm, but they've had a pretty good track record lately because they said the thing about Tessa like the day before it happened.
Wowzers!
They were some of the first people that said like she's about to show back up. Um, but I saw that, and as soon as I was like, oh, that's Penta.
I hadn't. I it didn't register with me, and it was very small. It wasn't like when when the War Raider symbol showed up. They gave them a little bit, like little less than 45 seconds. Penna's symbol lasted maybe 11. It was very quick. The symbol came up and then it went away. We didn't see it again. So it did it. I was just like, what is that? What is that? And nobody said anything because it didn't register with anybody what it meant. And I was just like, oh God. I'm like, somebody's coming. Like, who is this? It never registered with me that it was Penna. Never. But and that's cool. So Ray Phoenix has got another year before he can be out of his contract, so he won't be showing up for a while. But when it's his time, be sure to grab your reins, bitch, because we finna go for a wild ride. Anyways, we're gonna round this out. We'll finish up with Netflix. We'll go to Netflix first, and then we'll go into TNA and Tessa Blanchard.
But I'm just gonna say I'm not talking about Tessa. I'm gonna let you know that right now.
Oh my god. We don't have a choice. It was requested. But if she doesn't want to talk about it, I'm not going to force her.
I mean, who requested this? Because honestly, and I'm gonna be really for real, I don't understand why people need to have any discourse. I mean, despite her original parents, and again, yes, I am talking about her, but this is all I necessarily want to say. Is that I don't I don't care for the discourse or any conversation about her because, quite frankly, she doesn't necessarily deserve it. Um, I don't think she's just because I don't think she did what she was supposed to. I think Chelsea made, I'm gonna sort of paraphrase a little bit, sort of like I think what Chelsea said before, something about like, okay, because she was trying to do that Boohoo tour. I think I don't know if it was I think it was like beginning or a few like not that long ago. And it was like, okay, great. Again, I don't want anyone to like harm themselves or like commit suicide or anything. I don't wish that on anyone, regardless of how horrible of a person I think you are. Um, but at the same time, she's just done like try to do the victim card and just disappear and then hide out in Mexico and be weird down there and get her chin shaved down instead of like actually like saying I'm sorry. I know the only
I
one
mean,
I know she's like apologized to Rosa Rosa Negra, and I'm glad she did because obviously she really needed the apology. She forgives her just because she's a very nice woman and she's way better than me.
Yeah, totally.
Very, very nice woman. Very demure, very mindful. Could not be me. And I don't necessarily see a discourse about her because she's a carny. And she's a carny who's going to always have a door randomly open for her, a window randomly open for her because of who her mother spread her legs to.
ooh, my God, today.
So I don't necessarily feel there's no discourse because that's what she wants. She wants people to talk about her. She wants people to make it seem like she's a lot more important to the industry than what she actually is. So I will not give her that satisfaction. And that's it.
The it's not that Tessa isn't okay at what she does. She's not bad. It's just that her behavior is abhorrent. And it hasn't changed. And what really baffles me is that she is allowed to have bad behavior and everybody forgets and forgives. But if it was anybody else, they would be demonized right now. They would be cast aside. They would be ostracized. And she gets to run away and do whatever she wants to do, and she doesn't have to she doesn't have to atone for her sins. Now she
Yeah.
apologized to Rosa, that's fine, but there are plenty of other women who she has harmed in the process with her behavior. And they've all voiced their frustrations. Now, to be fair, these frustrations were voiced 4 years ago, but everybody came out and said the same shit and said the same thing and told their truth. And it was bombshell shit. Most people would have checked her right then and there, but even TNA didn't correct the decision. And it's not even just that, it's her
You know what's
behavior
real
as a
funny?
champion.
And I'm sorry to cut into what you're talking about because that you just brought up a point. The funny thing is, if she did that in WWE, them girls in that locker room would have dog walked her.
Yeah, they would have.
Yep.
Dog
It's
walked
like
her. Her shit would have been in the
you can't.
streets.
And I know Allison K is tight. I know she tight. I know she is
It's
tight.
really annoying. Is it Mart? No, Marty Bell's on. She's on Dynamite every. She's on AEW every once in a while. It's like, where is she? I'm like blanking. I was like, Marty Bell is on TV every once in a while, and I was trying to remember where. Actually, she does go on Impact every once in a while.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just want Allison Kay to be able to see her one real good time.
Mhm.
I
I feel like she
don't.
can
It's
fight.
not even just like the behavior towards her coworkers. It's also her behavior in the company. Like and to be fair, we don't know what she's done behind the scenes to rectify that. But to me, she tore her drawers with them. Like she literally held that belt hostage, refused to come, didn't want to drop the title because they chose somebody that she didn't want to drop the title to.
I don't even
Like
remember who
she
it
was
was at
being.
that time. I barely
I
remember
don't remember
anything during
either.
COVID.
I
I
don't
low
remember
key kind
either.
of forgot about the title thing until someone mentioned until someone mentioned how she was how they gave her everything, how she was world champion. I was like, oh my God, I remember. I was like, didn't she hold that thing hostage?
Yep.
It was at the time she was married to Daga, and
I
all
think
over.
they were married already, or they were engaged by then.
They were
It was
I feel
engaged
like
and
they
then
were
she
married
got
by
married
then,
during
low
COVID.
key.
they were there, and using this excuse that it was COVID and she was down in Mexico with her husband and his mom, and they were taking care of his mom,
Yeah,
and
which is fine. Like, obviously, like, do that, make sure family is straight. But, girl, put that in the mail. They weren't even asking her to physically drop it off. They were telling her to literally just mail it.
but she was just like, I don't. She goes, I don't think it's fair that I have to give it up and blah blah blah. And it's like, girl, why are you like? I'm not gonna feel sorry for you because you're literally not. And I get it. It was a scary time back then. I mean, it still is a scary time if you fucking think. But like,
Dang, wow.
know, any excuse possible to not go to work, and that's the thing that makes me fucking angry about. I mean, I know we skipped over a bunch of shit, but like now that we're talking about no chin having bitches, okay, we'll go. Um,
Ah,
but like it just blows my mind that she thought she was gonna get this special treatment and that it was fine. It's like she really thought Impact up everything out of her, and I'm just like, girl, what the fuck is your? She was just saying that what she was coming up with every excuse in the fucking book. And then they're just like, okay, you need to send it back. And she's like, no, I don't want to. What do you mean you don't want to? I don't want to drop the title. I think you still deserve it. And I'm down in Mexico taking care of my mom. Why are you so mean? Because I'm just like, and it's like, girl, my don't even fucking throw a hissy fit like that anymore. What the fuck? Exactly.
I
Whatever your
think she
other.
was just full of shit.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
My nephew's in the back just going off. So
and
apologies.
hate the fact that like, oh, as you guys need to give her a chance. And I'm like, baby, if you go back and you listen to our older episodes, we were riding
I
for this.
we used to love Tessa.
We used to ride
Yes.
for it. This was like such a big fucking deal for us that there was possibly a chance for the first time. in TNA history, a woman was gonna win a male only title, which is fucking amazing. We love that. But then she goes and and it's her fucking fault if she had just kept her goddamn mouth shut for 24 hours instead of doing this. And you could tell by the time that Allison Kay and Chelsea and Isla and all them saw that, they're like, you know what? I've had enough of this bitch. And people are like, oh, they're being so mean to her on her big day. I'd be like, no, because someone needs to chin check Crimson Chin here, okay? Like, you can't be going around saying, oh, it's a great time for women's wrestling, and then meanwhile you're one of the biggest fucking bullies in the back, and you think you're untouchable just because of who your daddies are. Like, what the fuck? And then you want to take the title, go to Mexico, hide for a year. You fucked Impact over. But then the funny thing is, they released her the day before her contract was up, and she still didn't give them back that damn title. And it's like, you no longer work here. Give us our shit back. Because she held that shit hostage for like a really long ass time. And I'm just like, what makes you think you're so goddamn special? Like, for real. Sorry, that woman just makes me so mad. Having all that damn talent, but she's such a piece of shit.
Yep.
Well, the funny part is that her biggest supporter is Moose, and he decided to go on the internet and act a damn fool. So a lot of people were talking, and they don't like the fact that Tessa is in TNA, and he obviously is very happy about it. So much so that he posted a selfie with Tessa, him and his big mush mouth smiling, and Tessa behind him hugging him. I was like, okay.
Do y'all remember
Whatever
when
happened to you after that, don't say nothing to me.
Moose is one to fucking talk because he's going to be in TNA for life, and not because he has loyalty to the company. It's because that's the only company that will deal with him. Because first off, the man can't wrestle worth a shit. Let's try not to think that he actually can wrestle as good as he thinks he does. Secondly, I'm pretty sure if he goes to any company, all the women could kick his fucking ass. First off, like,
He called a fan. He told the fan to go eat a burger, fatty, when they told him that he was a woman beater supporting the racists, and he was like, "Yeah, go eat a burger, fatty."
oh, you mean like how he does? And he thinks he has abs, but it's just hanging over his little
Oh
skinny
yeah,
ass.
when he said that, I said he got a lot of nerve because he's
I said, "Okay, babe."
I mean, I honestly think she needed to just to stay in Mexico. She could wrestle down there. Because I remember the first time she tried to do like this little comeback thing. I think it was with Wow Women of Wrestling or something like that.
yeah, I think
And
it
Hmm.
probably was well.
like one of those. And then they dropped the shirt, and she was like, "Oh well, I'm gonna have a shirt that says Nuclear Heat." And I remember because I followed Pro Wrestling Tees at the time on Instagram, and I saw the shirt and I sent it to you guys, and I'm like, this is not gonna fucking end well. And sure as shit, 5 minutes later, they took that post down because everybody was going off on that. They're like, why the fuck does she have a shirt? Why are you guys embracing her back? Oh, all of a sudden we're gonna pretend what she didn't do what she did to all those women. Like, I was like, okay, the IWC actually defending women for a change? That's a nice change of pace, for fuck's sake.
You'll be surprised.
But I think it's hilarious that I mean I know we skipped over, but whatever. I think it's awesome though that Jordan Grace is off to bigger, better things here soon. And there's that story that broke with her this week that she will not work with Tessa Blanchard. She
I
flat
mean,
out said,
she's working with her. She just pushed back against it.
She
But
didn't want to.
She didn't want to, but she is.
Sorry,
Which I mean, it is unfortunate, but I'm also kudos to her
I'm
for
not
being
mad at it.
professional.
Yeah,
get
Because
more.
again, she's in a shitty predicament, but I do commend her for being professional though.
She better than me.
I
That's how.
agree.
Yeah.
You
Oh, she better than a lot of us.
I would have
I
went
would have
home.
laughed in their
I would have
face
went
and
home.
went home.
Hell yeah.
They said, "What are you doing?"
Y'all
Going
ain't
home.
made me do shit. I'm
know
going
that
home.
face
I
be
said,
like,
"What are you
what?
gonna do?" She's not like she's ever been injured or anything the whole time she was there, so I can't add no injury time or anything to her contract. I will go home.
Okay. I will go home.
I just be like, well, you didn't let her do anything for a year, and she kept that belt hostage. So I'm gonna go be in the Royal Rumble again, and she's going to be. So Nana.
I think she's showing up in January 6th.
I think she's showing up. Yeah, because I heard it's in. So if her contract is up, it's probably when is the Rumble? Rumble's in February. I keep thinking the Rumble's
Rumble's
in.
in February.
Yeah, she's showing up at. Netflix. I don't.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that might cut. I don't know. It depends on what date she signed her contract.
They're bringing out everybody big for this show.
And it's going to be 3 hours again, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah, they gotta fill up all the time.
Hmm. Now, Moose is getting dragged. He don't care. He basically said people can change. People are different. Like y'all holding her accountable for something that happened in the past.
40
I
years
said,
ago.
okay. When she calls you a nigga, I don't want to hear
He probably
it.
likes it, so I don't know why.
Well, I have nothing to do with that. I won't be worried about what you got going on. I truly don't care. Now, um, Josh Alexander's wife, what's her name, Jade Chung,
Hmm.
she is no longer working with AEW. I mean, with TNA. So she was a ring announcer for TNA. She came back around the time of the revamp of TNA. So she's a ring announcer. Well, she was. And then it was announced today via PW Insider and a few other wrestling dirt sheets that she has officially left. And I'm like, if she left, Josh definitely is leaving. Because there's no way. But like I told a lot of people, I remember last year when Scott got fired, all of them put them hourglasses in their Twitter. I wish I would have screenshotted it.
I do not remember that.
They did it.
Oh,
Uh, they had Josh with one, Jordan had one. Who else? There was a couple other people, really big prominent names that all of them had hourglasses in their Twitter, and then they deleted it.
A lot of them were pissed off that Scott was released, fired. I don't know how you want to say it, but like
It was fired.
a lot of them, he was really well liked. And I did some research on him, and apparently he was like back in OG, like TNA Impact kind of deal. He was in the original Team Canada with Petey Williams and all.
Yeah, he
So,
was.
they're, I don't want to say like loyalty, but like you built, that's family. And I mean,
Scott's a good dude, and
never
he wasn't booking shit just for the betterment of certain people. He booked it for the story. And I have to admit, under Scott, TNA had a better understanding of what they wanted to be.
hear.
Right now, they don't have no direction.
Because
they just
I
doing shit.
bet
Yep.
you donuts that if Scott D'Amore was still there, there's no way in hell Tessa Blanchard would have ever set foot back into an Impact arena.
I don't know. I mean, Gail Kim's still there.
Well, that explains that.
So she might have. I'm like, I'm not mad about it per se, because that's their business. I'm just not gonna watch it. I don't care for Tessa. I don't like her attitude, and I think now she just wants everybody to have pity on her, and I'm not going to. You made your bed, now you gotta lie in it.
I don't
It's
have a
just that
pity.
simple.
I pity don't have anyone who other women when women in wrestling are already like getting shit on from every direction, and then the internal misogyny that she has, and she like was like, you say anything, I'll wreck your fucking career kind of stuff that we picked up from everybody. And it's just like, sweetheart, you're not as great as you think you are. Like, you're really fucking not. The only reason people gave you who you were is because people said is because of your last name. Period.
This is true.
And I
But
say that as somebody who showed my daughter Tessa Blanchard matches when she was fighting big guys. And it's like,
and to be fair, like, we it's fine. I don't think you have to be mad at yourself for that. You didn't know. So you were
not
just
mad.
trying to show your daughter a positive person. You thought she was positive and strong, so your daughter can see different people. That way, you don't have like one person to look up to, because everybody doesn't look the same, and it's nice to have alternatives.
I mean, I don't
We
hate
didn't.
myself for a lot of dumb shit, like how I fucking sprained my guy. But like, I just don't like it where she fucked around. She found out, and that's what the bottom line was. Like, you pissed off wrong many people. They had enough, and they're like, you know what? Your special day. Fuck your special day, which I think is hilarious.
It is what it is. I mean, she's there. They're gonna do the program with Jordan Craze. She's probably gonna beat her, and then they're gonna move on. And so are we. We're gonna move on.
Have one
It looks like
more.
it's gonna be a mass exodus for TNA, and I don't know.
I didn't
You
know
know,
about the hourglass thing. Oh, they really packing it up.
Mm-hmm.
because they are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, like, if Scott was still there, a lot of them would have stayed. Because I'm telling
What
you,
is
though,
going on? Why is there
What
two
is
refs?
happening?
I don't know.
Okay, wait. What is the ref saying?
I was like listening to us. Well, I'm not talking. You guys are talking. So I like did not see all of that. I'm like, what is going? Why is there two refs? And then why are they counting at the same time? There's a wonky finish.
Eddie Thorpe knocked out the referee. So a new ref came out. He had got a pin. They did the same finish they did with Cody and Kevin. He got a pin, but the referee was out. So the new ref came out. That Trick got his knee off, hit Eddie Thorpe. Eddie Thorpe was out, but I guess because Trick's shoulders were on the mat, considering by one referee and Eddie's wasn't. And on the other side, the referee saw both Trick's shoulders on the mat and Eddie's was pinned. They both saw it from their own perspectives. So now I guarantee you it's going to be a triple threat for that title at New Year's Evil. And if Eddie Thorpe gets that title at New Year's Evil, all hell gonna break loose. Especially over Obafemi.
Both their shoulders through the table said both their shoulders were down.
There Yes, essentially, because Eddie Thorpe was pinned, but because Trick was on the other side with his shoulders down, the other ref didn't see it. So one ref called it for Eddie Thorpe's shoulders down, the other ref called it for Trick's shoulders being down.
It's a dusty finish.
I wish they would have
Also,
just
Alba
ended it.
Fire and Isla Dawn looked fucking amazing tonight.
Showed up at, they finally came back to NXT.
They looked amazing. As soon as they came on, I said, "Ooh, y'all look like y'all don't belong here." They came to be messy towards Fatal Attraction or whatever the Fatal Influence,
Mm,
whatever name,
fatal
because
influence. Okay.
there was a vignette and all it was so sweet. Tatum, it almost made me cry. She was like, "Oh, I'm so happy." She was like, "You guys have," she's like, "came to save me, and now I don't ever have to play by myself ever again." And
Aww.
I was like, oh, my heartstrings.
I love Tatum.
I know, that was so sweet. And they obviously like look in a unit, and then the fatal hoes were just like blah 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 hating like normal. And then Alba Fire and stuff, and they're like, I think they look fantastic. I was like, they look like a group. I can't say the same thing for you guys. And they were like, what are you talking about? And they were like, I don't know. There's like, it just seems like there's some disconnect happening in here.
It's always been a disconnect.
And then she said something else. And then that also piggybacked off of what um Gigi was saying, because Gigi was like, I know JC better than anyone. That used to be my best friend. And she was like, I know she thrives when she has someone right next to her.
Hmm.
I said, duh, she's a user.
Mhm.
Yes. Fallon too damn stupid to see it.
Looking
By
more
the time she figure it out, Fallon gonna be done lost the title to JC.
Fallon like Mandy Rose every single fucking day. I'm like, what the hell? Mandy,
She
that's
the
your
one
girl?
who let her anger and shit turn her into what she hated the most, and let JC and them tell her what she's supposed to be doing and what she should be. It was all her because she was jealous of the fact that them girls was getting opportunities when Fallon was getting the opportunities. She just wasn't executing the opportunities correctly. That was the only issue. She wasn't capitalizing on the shit. So I don't feel bad for
I
Fallon.
love me a good spooky girl faction.
I'm here for Gigi. I'm here for Fallon. I'm not here for Fallon. Here for Gigi. I'm here for Tatum. I'm here for Scottish witches. Like, let's fucking go.
I'm just happy
Well,
Shotzi's back if she's on TV.
yes, very happy.
She's gonna
I
be a
love
little
Shotzi.
stinky, but it's okay. I still love
So,
her though.
got one more thing to talk about, and that's January 6th.
Can you say it a
On
girl did?
January 6th,
I'm sorry.
I can't help it. It is
I hate
January 6th.
also I hate how it's also on January 6th, but I know we can't help how the calendar falls, but it's like, oh man,
Oh,
out of all the days.
it's so bad. So, okay, Raw is gonna be on Netflix. All right. And they've already set up some matches for this particular show. They've already revealed the new logo. All of that is done. A lot of people don't like the logo. I don't care. It's a logo.
We're not doing NXT
I,
when
I
they were.
really don't care. It is a logo. It's nothing for me to argue about. It's a logo. It doesn't matter to me. So we got a few matches booked for this card. Okay, right now we got Seth and CM Punk's match booked for this card. You have to remember these shows from here on out in January are going to be 3 hours again. which I
Oh,
was low key used to the 2 hours.
Why did they give
I
us
was
something away from us?
I don't know, but I was used to that 2 hours. That 2 hours was good. The show went off at 10. Girl, and go to bed at about 11, maybe 12. I wasn't up till 1 and 2 o'clock. Girl, it was good days. It was good days. But anyway, Seth and CM Punk are gonna fight it out at Raw on January 6th. We got Liv and Rhea having their final bout on January 6th. And Tribal Combat is happening on January 6th with Roman and Solo. For now, those are the matches that are booked. I assume that the finals for the women's Intercontinental Championship are also going to land on January 6th.
If y'all don't stop pushing
And
about it,
you know what would be funny?
what?
what?
If the Intercontinental belt to Zoe for January 6th.
Oh
No!
my God. You're horrible. You're a horrible human being for that.
No, not a tee hee hee. It's a get the fuck out of my house.
January 6th is not getting that title on January 6th. That'll kill me. Kill me.
Hold the belt up after her win. The crowd is going to be completely silent. You're going to think it's on you.
Oh my God. Did you see on Monday they had no reaction to her? None.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You let go. I will. You know, I'm on Tegan Knox's ass for a lot of shit. But at least the bitch can wrestle. Like, why is Zoe still there, but Indy Hartwell and Tegan Knox aren't?
Well, to be fair, I kind of understood Tegan.
Yeah, but for
Not gonna
interesting the
lie. I understood Tegan. But as far as Indy is concerned, I was sad that Indy had got cut. I was like, of all the people, you cut Indy?
yeah.
I was sad about that. But I'm I'm looking forward to January 6th. I think it's gonna be a really massive show. Penna's gonna show up on January 6th. They're probably gonna have some Wyatt Six stuff happen where Uncle Howdy might go up against Karrion Cross because they still got that going on Monday Night Raw. Um, I'm sure Drew and Sammy are gonna fight again on January 6th and then have their final bout probably on January 25th when they do the next Saturday night main event. Um but a lot's going to be going on with January 6th. It's like all hands on deck, and everybody seems to be booked or at least going to have some type of showing on January 6th. A lot of people think Charlotte is coming back on January 6th. They think Becky will show up on January 6th. They are alleging The Rock is going to show up on January 6th. We already know that John Cena is scheduled to start his farewell tour on January 6th. There's a lot happening in the E heading into their Netflix era. And they are supposed to be TV 14, but Nick Khan did stress that they were not leaving the PG era behind, that they were going to be a family show. But I don't know how you a family show when you got people stealing people's man on TV and motherfuckers is hitting people over the back with chairs. You just had Ethan Page bust open Javon Evans' mouth on national television. I don't know how that's considered family TV, but sure.
Stuff
Sure,
out.
Nick. Whatever makes you happy. whatever makes you happy. But it's a lot going on. Hopefully, everything will be rounded out and we'll be able to get into some fun. And that also starts Mania season. Mania season starts because we're gonna get into Royal Rumble in February. Elimination Chamber is on the 1st of March, and then you have Mania happening in April. And those 2 nights for Mania. Next year there'll be 2 nights for SummerSlam. They're starting that. And as always, there's a crown jewel in there somewhere. There's another Saudi show in there somewhere. Money in the bank. The list goes on. So next year is going to be a wild ride.
Shut up, Ken.
Be thankful. Be thankful that you make it to next year, ladies and gentlemen. Be thankful.
Huh.
Anything else? Or are we good?
I don't have anything.
I think we're good till next year.
This is our last show until next year. And next year, we might have some slight changes to the show, but it'll be the same commentary you guys always get because we're consistent like that. Okay. So next year, we will start. We might do a show after January 6th, but the official start date won't be until mid January. I want to give the ladies some time off. Okay. Okay. It might even be a little bit like right before Royal Rumble or after Royal Rumble, just to give them enough time off to chill, relax, and we can regroup and reset the show and start anew in February, which I think we should do. But don't worry, we will return. We're gonna go on our hiatus. We may have a special show in between there. We did promise y'all a show about revamping AEW, which eventually we will do. But until then, we will see you guys in the next year. So you guys have a wonderful Christmas. Have a happy New Year's. Don't make resolutions because you never keep them. Okay? Don't make resolutions. Make goals. Set goals and stick to the
Period.
goals.
I got my
Okay?
goal.
I promise that'll work out for you better than setting resolutions because nobody cares about a resolution. Set a goal, stick to it. And if you're young, don't go to college. It's a trap. Okay?
Unless you
Don't fucking do it.
Unless you go for something that's very specialized and you absolutely need to, and it's not a
And you can pay
long-career
for it.
program that you can afford, like I'm doing right now. And
You
like
gotta be able
Alexis
to
did,
pay for it.
I do have to
Right.
pay for it eventually. But the nice thing is I'm online, so it's not near everything got covered, so I'm not paying anything out of pocket.
Period.
also,
So it's
if you're
very
gonna
If you
nice.
can't afford it and you're taking out all loans, please do yourself a favor and sign up for a trade school. I'm serious. You need electricians, you need HVAC specialists, you need plumbers, okay? You need carpet specialists, you need all of that. You need carpenters. We need people who can build shit, unless you want the robots to do it, bitch.
You're gonna need next year when that man take over.
Okay? Y'all need to have a trade so you can take care of yourself because as soon as Agent Orange get his ass back in there, the motherfucker already reneging on promises that he made to y'all, and some of y'all are shocked.
I don't know why anyone's honestly shocked about the groceries one. I
They're shocked about it. They're legitimately shocked. And they're like, but he said he was gonna fix it. I'm like, yeah, he said a lot of things.
conned by a fucking con man, that's why I've got over my fear, I've gotten over the sadness and the fear, and now it's just the fuck around and find out part that y'all are about to enter along with the rest of us, and I am fucking here for it. So y'all
I
got what
already
you
know
want.
how to survive, so it ain't bothering me. It don't
Fucking right.
bother me.
According that he's talking about privatizing the USPS.
Yep.
Oh Lord.
Privatizing the United States Postal Service.
Oh, and also not trying to get political on here, but I think it's real funny that now all of a sudden he's kind of
Listen,
changing up the vaccines and TikTok and all this shit. And it's just like, I don't give a shit. You know, no politician gives a shit about the smaller
go
people.
for it.
Let's 100% real about that. But when the number one thing on Google the next day is how do I change my vote, you know this country's fucked.
Uh,
And also just to add on,
all I want on
just to
that
add on,
note,
I just want to add one
go
more
ahead.
thing on. thing. As someone who went back to school late in life, yes, you can fucking do it. It's a lot harder, but you can fucking. And honestly, do not feel like if you can't afford classes as you them. Don't bog your only piece of advice I can give.
And on that note, we're gonna leave. Okay.
Oh,
Oh my God, you okay?
terrible note. Yeah. Why am I
On
watching the
that note,
news?
we're
I
gonna
need
go.
to.
Make
Ugh,
sure
I don't want to hear nothing
you
about no
guys
damn electoral college. Turn this shit off.
make sure you guys follow us on our social media. There's always something to find on the socials. You can look up at Down for the Count. It's all scrolling at the bottom here if you're watching us on video. Down for the Count 19 on Twitter and at D4TC underscore podcast on Instagram. Find us there. If you want us to collab next year, you need to talk to us ASAP because I want to plan that out and I want the girls to have that planned out so that those dates can be marked off in case they have to do something because they usually do. So y'all need to get in where you can fit in if you want to book us on your shows next year. Okay? Because we're busy. So with all that being said, I gotta go. You guys have a good night and enjoy your New Year's and Christmas.
Happy New Year's, everybody!
Bye.
Down for the count.